And I'm just really excited to welcome you to Biz Happy Hour Uncensored. And so in a couple moments, we're actually going to just go over some logistics about just video and muting everybody so we can get a really clean recording. And today's topic is all about truth, visibility, and courage. And the reason why Chris, Michelle, and I started this is just to really have fun. We're doing this as an experiment of how can we actually activate a community, a conversation, connection about the real stuff behind the scenes with life and business. Because I think so many times we're caught up in this, well, here's the formula, here's the right way, and here's the way to do it. And in one of our conversations, we realized, you know what, the most brilliant things happen and the most magic gets activated when we're just having conversations over wine or coffee or tea, when we least expect it, when we're writing those ideas on an app in a hotel room where I am now attending a mastermind. And it doesn't have to be so damn official. So my name's Angela Johnson. I'm a marketing and message list. I also assist people with live events. But I do that in a way that brings your purpose in alignment with the money that you'd like to make, so that you and also the burnout. So I'd love my co-hosts to join me in welcoming you and introducing themselves.
Oh, yay. Thanks, Angela. I'm Chris Prochaska, and I am communications. That's what I'm all about, helping people with the energetic communication, whether that's at work in their business and communicating with the soul and the deva of their business, or if that's communicating with their business partner, their spouse, their children, and just really helping people to understand what's going on in those dynamics and tap into a deeper level of communication and spirit. So that's what I'm all about. You can find me at prochaska.com.
Beautiful. And I'm Michelle Voss, and I am your embodiment and visibility expert. And what I'm all about is helping people really be in their body, and so they really can step into their visibility, but also understanding the tools and what it takes to actually then handle the visibility. So I do that through a bunch of different ways, and you can just find out more at michellevoss.com. I'm really happy to be here tonight, you guys. I think it's going to have a good time. I love our topics today.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. So what we'd like to do, so we can just keep the recording really clear, and so there's not so much distraction. There's going to be an opportunity for you guys to join the chat. In fact, let me just go over a couple tools. If you just mouse over the bottom of the Zoom screen, you'll see actually a little discussion dialog box. When you click on that, a chat box will show up. So throughout the show, we'll actually be inviting you to share your questions, your ahas, to share what really inspired you, what maybe pisses you off or you don't agree with us. Let's keep this conversation live. And so for right now, if everyone actually want to turn off everyone's video, just again, so we could keep the distractions to a minimum, we'll bring it all back on at the very end. So if you can actually just mouse over and just click the stop video, it's in the bottom left-hand corner, and then also make sure that you're muted so that we'll keep everything clear and clean so that we can just share the goodness with people. And then Emily, you've got everything handled, I think, on your end. And yeah, there we go. Okay, awesome. So let's get in. I think what we'd like to do, and I don't think, what we would like to do is actually just everyone just take a breath and just get present. And as we think about these three words, courage, truth, and visibility, what things start showing up for you? Because it sounds like a really juicy topic. And you know that when we declare this as our topic for this month, how interesting.
Nice.
And just reading about the courage. And there's some courageous conversations that I know that I'm getting prepared for. I had a really courageous conversation yesterday that it was just about speaking my truth and claiming my desires. And it was really uncomfortable and beautiful. And so just take a breath and just sit in that for a moment. Just get present. And Chris and Michelle, is there any, specific place that you would like to take that specifically?
No, I just want to, I do want to, before we totally jump into those, because I want to avoid it for a couple more minutes. Just kidding. Not really. But anyway, is just, we're going to have this little discussion here. Please use the chat box. Like if you're like, amen, sister, or you're like, oh, what about this? I have a story or something. Let us know what's going on for you, because we do want this to be interactive. And then we'll talk about this for a little while. And then we are going to ask for some input, some questions. We'd love to, if you have a question or you have something come up and you want some, just girl time, dialogue, coaching, whatever. I mean, it's not, just whatever you need, a different perspective, maybe. That's not necessarily coaching, but a different perspective. We're here to also offer that, just like we do for each other in our mastermind. That's what we're wanting to create here, is that kind of conversation where you're just like, okay, well, what about this? That you don't get to ask in other places. Okay. So just want to say that. And I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and I'm going to ask.
That's in the buck, man. What's up with that? I don't want to go first.
Based on what I was writing in my journal today, no way.
Well, I'll say one of the things that just came up for me, and I posted it on my Facebook page, and I had a friend, it was kind of funny. She said, wow, you're very philosophical today. And I was actually watching a Super Soul Sunday, and the guy's name, what was his name? Daniel Coleman. He actually wrote Emotional Intelligence like ever ago. And he told this little story. He said, the devil and God were walking down the street one day. And God came upon, he reached down and he picked up all these beautiful balls of light, these orbs, these just gorgeous things. And the devil turned and looked and said, what is that? And God said, this is truth. And the devil said, give it to me. I'll rearrange it. And I loved that, because I think that's what happens. It's like we sometimes believe that it's true, but it's been rearranged, or it's not like capital T truth, right? It's a small perspective. It's a small truth in our own truth. And it just struck me, and I just love stories. And so I just thought it was a cool way to think about it. Yeah. So maybe I'm avoiding that conversation.
I know, right? I mean,
so I will tell you what just came up. So I've been sick for a month now, and it's getting old. I got to tell you, different types of things, doing what I can with health-wise and stuff, working on it. But something came up where and it was two different people. One was well, I actually won't say, just two different people. And they reached out to me and said, hey, like, I'm kind of struggling with something. Can I have, basically have your time? Can I have a conversation? And they, they wanted some coaching to this. And I was really sick that weekend. Like, I was really congested, like really, really bad. And I was like, I couldn't. I just was like, I don't have any extra. Like, I got nothing to give here. So I said no. I told the truth. I told the truth for me. And it was interesting because one person was like, okay, cool. Like, no worries. Like, when you feel better, or we know it. Because I said, like, when I feel better. And then the other person, there was some real backlash for me telling my truth and speaking my truth. And that was hard, and what I had to really sit with was, I often don't tell the truth in that way. I'll make up some other excuse or something to just avoid, like, I can't give to you right now. And so it was hard, and I had to have the courage to do it. And I'll tell you, and it didn't, it wasn't like perfect. It didn't land perfectly. And I'm so glad I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to do it for me. And it also lets you know who people are.
It does. Because I think that when we meet up with people who can deal with that capital T truth, and even our own, personal truth, they respect it. Like, they get it. There's an energetic vibration of, yeah. And okay, I may not like the answer. I may not want that, but I get it. And people, I think, who have a really who are uncomfortable with truth or not living their truth or questioning truth, they won't like it, generally speaking. And it does tell us, who are our people and where to give our energy, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to play actually the flip side of something.
Yeah.
That I've used myself, and I know when I really got on this bandwagon of, oh my gosh, I've not been speaking my truth for so long, I'm going to speak my truth, whether people can hear it or not, and whether it's asked for or not, whether it's received or not, I don't give a shit. I'm going to speak my truth because I'm going to speak my truth. And I noticed that there's some people in my life, very few now, but will speak their truth as a way of giving me their unsolicited advice.
Yeah, right.
And it's such an interesting dynamic because when I'm more conscious now, sometimes I'm not conscious, I'm very unconscious and unenlightened, but when I do my best to be conscious, the question that I'm asking myself is this actually going to create more? Or is it going to be trying to stuff my truth down someone else's throat when it's actually something else that I'm wanting approval of, I'm wanting validation? And so sometimes I think speaking your truth can be overrated and also misapplied or misaligned, and so there's just this balance. And I would love to just know what you guys think. And, for those of you chatting, in the chat box of what is that balance of speaking your truth versus giving unsolicited advice? Just because you have an opinion about something doesn't necessarily mean it's your truth. I notice, especially there's one person in particular I'm thinking of that she will often use this, well, I just need to speak my truth here, but what it's actually doing is kind of I just need to actually give you my opinion and my perspective and my point of view, but I'm going to do that in a way that's with this umbrella because that's the proper enlightened way to deliver your advice.
Yeah. It's a spiritual, it's what I call a spiritual bypass, when people like to use the spiritual concepts to just have their agenda ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's a capital T truth versus a small t truth. Capital T truth is the orbs, right? It's unmistakable. It's not even personalized. It is the core of something. Small t truth is your own perspective. It's what's true for me. Right? And that's where it's about the energy behind it. And like what you're saying, Angela, is it just being used for somebody to get their way or, whatever it might be? So yeah, that's the difference. And I'll, like I said, we'll open this up here to.
Yeah, I love the comments. I think that's really true. And I think of it as, are we speaking from our inner voice, right? That heart. And I think it was Heather who said that. Now the comments are coming in, or from those little voices, right? Of that are just want to make it up. They're just they've got an agenda, and they'll use, just like the devil, they'll use whatever means possible to get the point across and call it, I love it, spiritual bypass. It's so true. And they'll call it's blanketed in there. It looks like it, but it doesn't smell like it at all. And I remember getting this, this is a story of truth that really hit me a couple months ago, actually. This guy from high school Facebook friended me. And I'm not on Facebook that much. And so I didn't get the message. And then I get this text message, this guy's name, and he's like, hey, I sent you a Facebook message, get on there. And I was like, who the hell is this person? The name was vaguely familiar, but it's been over 30 years. I was
the truth.
And I'm like, who the fuck is this person? So anyway, long story short, he starts texting come on, you goofball, I'm so-and-so. We sat next to each other and such. I was like, okay, if you say so, I guess this guy proceeded to write these long messages, and he knew me better than I remember him. And it felt creepy, right? So I finally friendly back. I said, I'm not interested in friending you. I don't, frankly, I don't remember the way you remember me. I don't mean to be mean, but I don't. And he off on me, and he was just, like, come on, I'm trying to be really nice and all this stuff. And I looked at his profile, and here's this like good Christian guy and all this stuff. And I was like, but it feels creepy. What do I do? And I thought, you know what? Creepy's creepy. Boom. It feels creepy. Like maybe he is genuinely trying to just reach out, but it didn't. And what he was messaging me and getting so angry with me when I spoke truth, I was like, yeah, this is not a person that I want to be friends with. So I think it also really, we have to go with that feeling of the truth, right? How does it feel when it lands? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like what Paula said around, she's a highly intuitive person, that you've had to kind of learn to hold your to, because, and Angela, you kind of said this, not everybody's ready, not everybody wants to hear it, and not everybody's ready for it, and I used to just say stuff, and then all of a sudden there was like backlashes, and I was like so confused all the time, and hurt, and now, it was all about me. And the reality is so ironically, this is actually one of our kind of, the visibility is related to embodiment, because it's about presence, right? It's like, so with what is, the energy of what is, and honoring that versus rearranging it and getting it all caught up in the story about whatever it might be. You're present, you're also going to know, which I didn't used to be, it's not the right time. They're not open to it, nor ready, and it's going to land on deaf ears. So it's a beautiful point around being intuitive and truth, because it can get enmeshed, and it can be very confusing.
Mm-hmm. I agree, definitely.
Is when I am speaking my truth, but there's an energy of I want to prove a point, or really want to be right, then that's not coming from the, as Michelle said, the capital T place. It's coming from because a couple weeks ago, I can't remember where this happened, but it takes a lot of damn judgment to be right. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm speaking my truth because I want to be right, or I want to be validated in my rightness or my righteousness, I first have to judge whatever the situation is, or blah blah blah, and it kind of goes against the whole truth. And so is it really speaking your truth? Like, is that actually really a thing? I think we've made it a thing, in the spiritual, personal development. Or is it really actually being your truth and living your truth, regardless of what you say or not say?
Yes.
Like, if it's all lip service, then it's all bullshit.
Yes.
Yep.
I agree. I totally agree. Ken he is a great truth detector, right? In his human design of inner truth, and he could smell bullshit a mile away. And tell when even if I can't tell, where I'm like agenda girl, and it's those little voices, truth that's speaking, versus, when I'm really coming from that inner voice, that capital, that place of, okay, I really do want the best. I don't have an agenda here. And he's taught me the most about when I can see that in myself. And it really is in our communication with others to see what our truth is too. Like, we can go, well, this is my truth. There's something about being heard and sharing it that actually will give you more information about what your truth, or what your truth is. Does that make sense? So heard and seen and witnessed, in order to really get clear on what our truth is. I
love that. And I was just thinking, I was like, God, I like talk about visibility, and that is perfect, Chris, because I'm playing with new content, and the core of it is this concept around visibility cannot exist unless we have a witnesser.
Absolutely.
Right? let's talk about visibility, and let's talk about it in the relationship to our business, because I think that that's where most people want to be visible, but where we hide. So where do you guys hide? Where are you hiding in your business? Where are you hiding blatantly? So blatantly. Where are you hiding out?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I know, Angela, I mean, you were we were talking, and, you know, we're all open talking about this, you know, in our mastermind group on Monday, and we laughed because I was like, and there's your topic.
Yeah. Two things where I'm hiding. I'd love for you guys, you know, to put in the chat, where are you hiding? So two places of delegation. Like I'm having some team issues. One of my team members is on the line. Don't worry, it's not with her, with you.
You're okay.
But for me, it was like that, like, wow, I'm the common denominator. This keeps happening. Where am I hiding? And it's like, wow, if I actually had the support, like makes me get choked up a little bit, like what I actually create. And when I go further down that road of like, if I really created what I know I can create, what I would really like to create, even just have the desire to create, there's a lot of, sometimes a lot of fear, sometimes a lot of excitement, sometimes both. I have to be judged, and I might even be attacked, and I might even be ridiculed. And part of that, of really coming out with how to have soulful sales conversations. So this topic of sales keeps orbiting around my friggin' universe of, you know, I sell really well, I have great conversion rates, and I see, especially like in the 3-day live event format, of the bullshit that happens at a lot of 3-day events. And there's formula, and there's a system. And my fear is to go against those in the industry, the big names, the multiple 7-figure business owners, like really going against what has been taught and inundated and brainwashed. And it's like, you actually don't have to do that to build a kick-ass business that doesn't feel like you're selling your soul every time you have a sales conversation, whether it's on stage or not. So that's where I've been hiding. And I've been having this program, you know, that I was going to launch January 1st and then February 14th on Valentine's. And here we are, April 13th? Still hasn't happened. And I haven't communicated it. People who actually would like the program, like they're waiting. When is this going to be done? And I'm like, I haven't even communicated. So I'm just outing myself. It's really uncomfortable. At the same time, I feel really like a psycho about it, you know?
So where you're hiding is that you're not stepping up into the arena where you are peers among those who you call heavy hitters. That's where
you say that, and I'm like, to actually put myself as a peer, put myself as an expert, put people on a pedestal, even though I judge the shit out of the pedestal. Like, it sounds insane. It's like, wow, this is such this intricate little thing, when it really is. I'm in the process of choosing it. I'll be honest, I haven't completely chosen yet. Like, I haven't been able to allow myself to have it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'm getting closer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's still scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, terrifying. Otherwise, it'd be a non-issue, right?
Yeah, right.
But this is also why truth and courage is part of the conversation, right? Around visibility too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you hiding, Chris?
You know, I'm seeing what people are saying, and I totally get this. My hiding in the menu self-development. I'm a self-development whore. I want to eat it up. I'm sure most people on here are. We just content. Give me more content, because I could swim in that all day. But I used to focus on working with entrepreneurs, and a lot of the clients that I had were moms, and they were asking me, you know, this is great. I love what you've helped me do this. Like, how do I do this with my family over here? And I was like, I don't know, you know, I mean, I have a therapy background. I used to be a licensed mental health counselor. I have the background. I have the, you know, the skills to do this, but I was like, I don't know. I don't do that stuff, you know? And I think that, what's interesting to me, I did a TED Talk last year, and I told them, here's my idea, and this is what I want to talk. And I did want to talk about parenting. The wanted me to talk about it wasn't the way I wanted to talk about it, so I went ahead and hid there, big time. And I was still in, you know, that's what I was invited to talk about, was parenting. And I still dug in my heels, like, I'm not an expert at this, even though I have two kids. People tell me I'm a good parent. You know, I'm just like, I struggle. And so I think that there's this, at least for me, invited to you know, be a someone to facilitate a conversation at a large conference here, women's conference here, all around mothering. Again, it was like, okay, so clearly I'm being invited to do these things. Clearly I'm having dreams about it. I'm having my clients ask me about it, and I'm still digging in my, like, who the hell am I to do that? Why bother? What, you know, nobody cares about that. Like, they just, whatever. I mean, it's so hide in excuses. I hide in excuses. I hide in, you know, that, yes, lack of focus, overwhelm, all of those things that you guys are writing in the chat box. And so I
want to say, so I think because we hide in so many different ways. So the thing, and this is where it relates to truth and telling the core capital T truth. So what are you afraid of?
Honestly, I am afraid. This is exactly what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that I am going to teach people what I know about energy and communication and parent, and then I'm going to knock on wood as I say this, and then my kids are going to end up or on drugs or pregnant 15, you know, and people are going to look at me and they're going to go, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. Because if you couldn't parent your own kids perfect, then who the hell are you to teach us? That is what I'm terrified of. And it's like, I'm doing fine. My kids are beautiful, and I can't control them. They are their own people, right? And I know people, like, I watched something recently where it was a couple therapists who were talking about, it was so interesting. It was about suicide. It was mediumship is something that I practice on the side, and there was this panel discussion, and it was a number of parents who had kids who committed suicide, and of the people on this panel, out of 4 were therapists, psychologists. This was their, you know, and it did help me to go, okay, all right, like, I don't have to be perfect to do a really good job. I don't actually have to know. And the downloads I keep getting is, we're going to teach something so different. This isn't even about what you're thinking it's about. It's not even about discipline or these other things. It is about being with people in a totally different way. And there's a part of me that I don't have what it takes.
Yeah. So how many, everybody else, how can we relate to, you know, we don't have what it takes, you know, it's stepping into something, whether it's business, whether it's speaking, whether it's, you know, whatever.
Right.
And that will always, that's the devil side, right? That's the part that wants to rearrange the core truth, because it's easier to stay in our confusion, and it's easier to stay in ourselves than risk true visibility.
Exactly. So where are you hiding then, Michelle? Where are you hiding?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I think I mentioned it last time because it had happened already, but I had actually sent, people who know that I will never oversend you stuff.
Yeah.
Not my thing. But I'm working on it because it is actually one place I hide. I hide by, in a sense, not reaching out to my list very frequently, because I have a running script of I don't want to be a bother. I don't necessarily have anything clever to say. I'm not a good writer, as I've learned, not a writer. And I'm partly dyslexic. I'm actually a horrible speller. I can't spell my way out of a paper bag. So I always get an email back like, you missed another there. I'm like, I know. Okay. So I just don't. That's my solution.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. And it's interesting because yesterday I told you before, I've been sick and I've started this new eating plan, and it's on here. Tina knows it. So I'm off dairy right now, and I really miss cheese. And I was really, like, it was the first day that I really struggled. Like, I really wanted cheese. Now my body didn't want it. My head wanted it. And so I just started to write down the subject line is, I miss cheese. And then I wrote about the difference of, my body and being embodied versus the truth of my head, right? It's like the truth versus the truth. And started to write about that. And just wrote it in a sense as a journal, but I typed it out, and I just knew that I was going to be sending that to my list. Like, this is just what I'm going through. This is me. This is what's up. And I have an assistant now. Yay. So I sent it to her for spelling
editing. Yeah, good.
Yes. Because I was like recognizing that, I still wanted to be clever. And how often does it get in the way of me truly just being 100% visible and really not thinking twice, about it. And when I don't mean twice, I don't mean like, everything is not everybody's business, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just a difference. So I was really sitting with that yesterday. And it will go out tomorrow. So for those of you that says I miss cheese, you'll know it's from me.
Well, I just want to highlight what someone said. Heather, your list would love to hear from you in journal format. That's my bet.
Yeah. And it is true. Like, this is the capital T truth. Like, my people know who I am. Like, I am real. I have always been an open book. Like, they get that. And that is why I have a following. And so for me, it's so crazy. It's crazy making, right? Like, we all make such crazy making in our head, because in my head, I'm like, oh, I have to be, a little more polished. And I'm like, the messy is what people actually like, because they also get the intuitive and the realness and the depth and everything else that I am. And then I say really brilliant stuff. So then I am polished in a way. So yeah, their journal format, I just, like Angela, I need to change what I've been taught about how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, totally. I love the messy, and I love the comments about messy, because if you were on our first one, I was shared that I've known that this is who you really are. I would have hired you years ago, and that inspired me to start writing these Messy Mom Monday posts, where it was kind of like, yeah, I don't have it together, because she thought, oh, you have it all together, and so it is. It's true. I love the messes. They're fun, and as long as we're not wallowing there, and we're just being, it's not. We're not even, and we're not using it strategically either, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, here's my, here's my hot mess.
My strategic mess.
Like, you can tell that, though, again, in the marketing, right? Mm-hmm. You can tell the difference between, I'm using this to connect with people, but there's a distance. It's not really being real. And then versus just being, this is who I am, you know?
Well, to take that a step further, though, because I see a lot of women, especially, who use that as a reason not to be strategic. Oh, I'm just going to just do this, and I'm just going to be real, but I never have to sell or market myself.
Yeah,
They're
that's true.
actually hiding in the realness, but it's like if people were willing to get just 5%, 10% more strategic, like you're building a business, like we're here because we're entrepreneurs on some level, right? And so it's so interesting to see, it's like the energy behind it of you're really the only person. Other people, it doesn't matter if they're the best psychic in the world, like they can help you see it, but it's like you have to be so honest with yourself of like, oh, I'm hiding it so real, which then is the cover up of like, you know what, I actually could be strategic, and what would that marriage look like for you? It's going to look different from someone else.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It's a really good.
Yeah, because it's about the intention behind everything, right? And you know, we actually don't want to see mess for mess sake.
Yeah.
Right. I know I don't. I'm not interested in what's, that's not what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a value add, right? That you do want to be strategic. There is something, in that. Thinking about what is the purpose in a sense of how does this land and how can I add value, which is being strategic, because the more value you add, right, the more the person who's going to provide that and eventually sign with you.
Mm-hmm.
The point, it's like, I love this conversation because there's no topic that we don't hide in at some, like, people, right? That there's spirituality, we can look at the classics, drug addiction, blah, 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 but there's so many enlightened things that we hide completely in, and that's that spiritual bypass stuff.
Yeah, we're basically hiding in the right. We're hiding in the light, and we're acting like it's not that. But
Oh, and I love Heather just said, but we can relate to mess and how you're showing up to how you get out of them.
Exactly. And and it's interesting because when I started writing those posts, I had the intention, I was like, I want to be able to show the realness, but I also always want to show this is what I did to get out of it. Or this is what I learned, or this is the takeaway, or this is I didn't want it to be like, oh, well, guess what I did? That kind of a stream of things. I wanted it to be like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. And oh, I learned something from that, And so I think I was being strategic and didn't know I was being strategic. Angela.
That's the best kind. When you're like, oh, this actually worked.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, cool. That's really awesome,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to ask, a concept around courage. So, it takes courage to stop hiding. It takes courage to tell the truth. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you know that you need to do that you're not doing?
Go ahead, Angela.
I'm say you guys. I also mean that everyone on. So
yeah.
I want everybody to ask themselves this question and share. What do you know that you need to do and you're not doing it?
Yeah, totally. Nice.
Like I have a list. and honestly, it's a lot of stuff tied around my business and marketing. And it's so funny because I'm the marketing expert, right? And I have the hardest time marketing myself. And it's really frustrating. Like I get really pissed off when I do that. And which is every day, I'm talking myself into, oh yeah, I actually have to market myself. But yeah, the obvious, the sales training I already talked about. The courage to make more invitations and really be firm in the invitation of, and then I had an experience this week. It's kind of a blur. The courage to just say no to people who want the magic pill and they want the magic pill, and it's like, I'm not going to give it to you. You have to be willing to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not sometimes. And so sometimes for me, I really want to override the, just how sometimes friggin' brutal this be, because I really don't want to believe that it has to be about the struggle. And then that shit shows up in a real way. And I'd rather just not go there. Is taking the courage, like having the courage to say, yeah, you know what, sometimes it's really going to suck. I'm sorry. And just to like be in the discomfort of it, because I really want to override the discomfort. It's going to be fine. Just have more faith, or let me help you. And then I could turn into rescue mode. To work. So to have the courage to not go into rescue mode and save people.
Mm.
And that's
right. Because we always want to say, then what would that mean to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are like 7 different things in there. They're all connected. Great.
Yeah. We can feel them.
Yeah. One thing I say to my clients all the time when I do the live events is get comfortable with the discomfort. Because it's going to get uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of where I need some courage. I mean, I think I said it earlier. It's like just choosing. I mean, it's kind of comes down to the point of, I have all of these ideas and notes and I mean, just incredible stuff that's being downloaded. And I love my entrepreneurs. I love working. I love connecting them with their business in a different way and communication. And I keep having this like, or that I can't do both. And so I'm afraid to choose. And I notice that every time I get a little bit like in the, okay, so what does this look like? Almost invariably, I get foggy. Like, it's almost like I just dissociate. I'm like, okay, stop it, stop that. And so it's that discomfort that's like the courage the courage to simply choose something and then go ahead and start taking action on it. And I think it comes back to all the different fears that we 3 listed and all of that's going on in the chat. I love how much you guys, by the way, it's just awesome. Is all of those reasons why I don't choose and just start taking action. If people judge me, they're going to attack me. They're not going to like it. They're blah, what if I screw up? All of that stuff. So, yeah.
Someone posted earlier, why do women, and I think men do this too, but why do women hide in their imperfections?
Oh God, yeah.
We were just talking about, it's like, what if we actually didn't have all this drama?
Yeah, right.
What would we talk about? Like, what if there, like, we just stopped hiding? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things that I've realized is I'll create drama sometimes because then I have something to talk about with people. What if there's actually, like, what if it's not so damn hard? And it doesn't take that much courage. Like, where we made it so, oh my God, this takes so much courage. And it's like, really, does it? The lie is that because you look at a child who's like my first step, like, you're not holding me back, lady. You know what I mean? Like, they're just gonna go. It's like, when did we lose that? Just that innate ability to be courageous. Like, when did it become such a big thing and such a big deal? So just playing devil's advocate for a second, but
I love that.
So seriously, like, oh my God, it takes so much courage. Really, does it?
Right.
Sometimes it feels like, holy shit, this is scary. But it's like, what if it actually isn't so dang complicated?
Right, because it's not, right? It's capital T truth. It's not complicated whatsoever. It's quite simple. You choose. There's no good or bad, no right or wrong. Right or wrong doesn't exist, right? It's all of it. You just simply choose each and every moment. So yeah, so you hit a huge button for me, because you know, some of you I think know, but my past business, and I still bring it into my career. It's around style, your authentic style, and how that shows up energetically and physically. And so I deal with a lot of women who are, you know, it's like that conversation of, you know, oh, you look really great today. Oh no, I just, you know, I don't, and it's like we reject, even because we want to actually, because it's like we're taught as women to connect imperfections. We're not taught to through our brilliance and through our, you know what, you want to know how fucking awesome I'm? Like, I am so amazing, and you're amazing. Like, let's talk about how amazing we are. Like, that is not what we were taught to do. Right? It's be humble. It's shut down, you know, and it's like, so then, yeah, we want to show up, but then how do we handle that? Because we are so disconnected from when we were a kid. Because when we were a kid, it was easy. It's like, look what I can do. And they're like, you're like, that's awesome. Like, you're like, what is that? I don't know. I'm so excited. Because they're just they want to be seen. And we've totally lost that. And then we have to have courage to have, you know, the drama to bring it back. When in the reality, it's really simple. You just show up the way you show up, and you let players play.
I think this comes back to that whole part of we need someone to see us, though, too. Because I mean, I think as you know, I love the example of kids, right? Because they just, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I hear, Mom, look at this, watch this, Mom, watch this, Mom, watch this, right? And if you're moms out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And after a while, you're like, oh my God, just like, please, I need 5 minutes. Like, can't we single every single thing you're doing, right? And I think that over time, what we learn is that, you know, when I'm doing something really great, sometimes I'll get, well, sometimes I won't, but I'll always get noticed when I fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
I will always get attention when I screw up. Almost always.
True. Yeah.
And but not always when I'm doing something really well. And it's hard to say that as a mom, because I'm kind of like, ooh, I can see where I do that. And my kids are, so they're like, hey, Mom, you only watch when you're not, you know, like whatever. I mean, they'll call me out on it. It's like, oh, Jesus. But that, I think, is where it comes from, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's where it starts. And then we start to, I don't know, I was thinking of a video that on YouTube a couple years ago, where it's hysterical. It's all these girls, and they meet up one at a time, and they're like, oh my God, I love your such and such outfit. And then they just, oh, this old, you know, douchebag thing. And they just go on. And our last girl comes up, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. And she goes, thanks. And they all discorporate. I mean, they all literally fall down. It's hilarious. So that's exactly what it is, though, you know, where we can't handle it.
Right.
So we're just saying, thanks.
Right. So what do we do about it? As business owners, and as we're stepping out, and what are some of our fails?
I think the courage is it. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, it's like, I got to have the courage to go out there and be seen by, maybe it's the two people on either side of me, you know, maybe it's the group of people who can see me, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm letting myself be seen.
But how do you muster that courage, or how do you remember about that courage? Because this is what, I mean, we all can say like, oh yeah, it's this, but we all know that in the day-to-day, how do you remember? How do you call that forth?
So the way I connect with it, as I was saying kind of earlier, this comes back to truth. You you know, what's my truth here? Like, I'll write in my journal and ask, you know, what am I here? You know, what do you want me to do next? Because I'm clear that my business, I have a spirit and my business has a soul. And we're working together. This is not me. I am working with the soul of something that wants to work with me. I'm the channel for it. And so when I start to feel like I don't know who I am, I don't know what's going on, I sit down with the soul of my business. I have a conversation with it. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? And it's like, here. And I find that courage. It's in spirit. It's in the sacredness. From my next book is going to be Scared to Sacred. It's like sacred leadership, sacred pulling ourselves out of it. It's when we connect with what's sacred, not the scared, it's the sacred part. And it's one letter difference. It is so potent and so powerful. And that's what I have to keep, that's what helps me to keep going. So.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
A couple just very tangible things that I've used. Recently, I've been doing more shadow work, and I didn't really know what that was. Most of that at Michelle's. I did a speaker's training with her a couple months ago, and realizing I've been doing a lot of shadow work just with them. And as I've been doing deeper work in that, that's been really amazing. The access consciousness tools I use. So those are two actual tools that I use on a daily basis to essentially look at my shit and clear it.
Yeah.
Because I get in my way more. I lost my way. I'm not the person who lets people get in my way. So to say that someone else got to, go into the industry, that's bullshit. That's like, it's not even real. The other thing I've just been noticing of what I think being witnessed, that is a really big piece of this. But in order to be witnessed, it requires vulnerability. And for me, that has been one of the scariest things and also one of the most rewarding things. And so just being vulnerable with a tribe, whether it's one person, whether it's my husband, friend, my coach, my masterminds, but vulnerability is for me. Mm-hmm. What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, a lot of, what you guys said too, and just the shadow stuff. And, really the presence work for me, it's getting back into the actual present moment. And I have a mantra that I've used for, probably like a little over a year now. And it's, I don't have to use it as much. That's a good sign. It's sticking. But it is, it's, I am present to each and every moment. And I'm present to each and every moment. And that really supported me because it's because then it keeps me out of my story, right? It keeps me out of my head about something. Because if I'm really present to just truth is, first of all, the thing that happens is I'm instantaneously empowered, where I'm usually disempowered to figure out whatever, right? It feels too spinny. So it's instantaneously empowered. And then it allows you to make that conscious choice, like a true conscious choice from the energy that actually is versus the energy that you think it is or project or comes from the past or whatever. And that present, sometimes it's the simple awareness and I can go there instantaneously. And other times like yesterday, at present, I felt like I wanted to jump out of my skin and I was like, what is this? And so I kind of just and I ask questions and I just wait for the answer. It's a very just sort of self-coach intuitive thing. But for me, it's always comes down to really the present moment. And just a lot of questions, like curiosity. I think that's the biggest thing for me is stay curious about what it actually is. like the core energy of it, not what you think it is, but the truth of what it is. Yeah, and that's been really, really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Another thought, because I think, we're all coaches, so we have a lot of coachy, tools that we use. But in all, sometimes I just numb out and I just get super pissed and I have a pity party, like watch a series of Mad Men on Netflix in a single day or like a season, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I just chose to do that. Like I will choose to go unconscious because I just don't want to deal with it. I'm tired sometimes. And so sometimes it's like, yeah, I can do all that. I have hustles and I'm choosing not to use them because I just want to like be in whatever this is and I don't give a shit right now. And
so let me ask you, because I and my husband will totally, give an amen to this. Like I completely numb out with TV, like in the evening. But I got to tell you, it's not really by choice. It's not by conscious choice. It's by habit. So I'm just saying that for me, that's what it is. So, because I don't sit there and be like, I think I'm just going to totally choose to I'm just like, what's easier? Numbing out. Like that's easier than doing some of the work.
I was numbing out like a habit, and sometimes I very consciously choose. I'm very conscious about like, I'm not doing anything because I don't care to. Like I'm just honest with myself, and then other times absolutely I'm like totally unconscious about it, habit, and that's where I get stuck.
Yeah.
Like I look at like my body, my health, my food, like right now I'm like, wow, where have I been hiding? I've been hiding in my body. I've been hiding in food. And interestingly enough, Michelle, when you were talking about like your mind says one thing of what you want, and your body, I hide in what my mind says instead of what actually works for my body. It's a hiding mechanism, oh my God, for decades. And I've just really started bringing more awareness to that of like, wow, this is probably my go-to hiding in my body. And interestingly enough, like in the last year, there's been a lot of tension. Shocking.
Yeah. No, I it's up for me too, and that's why I kind of asked because yesterday I had a very conscious choice. I obviously and I chose to numb out, which really actually isn't numbing out for me, but to just go outside and to just be in my yard and like I don't even know what I did. I just was like piddling around in the yard, and that was a way to just not deal, but also deal because I was just trying to be in my body and just allow. Like I'm not going to ask myself questions or dive in or whatever. I was just like, no, I just want to chillax. And I chose that. So it really helped me. Like it was really, really supportive. Truth beyond, the honesty is that all the time I'm just, there's a habit of just kind of checking out and just being done with work and done with whatever. And I give a lot. We all give a lot. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm done. Up until 3 weeks ago, wine was a big part of that. But I have to be off wine along with cheese. You guys know me right now? Like that are.
Oh my God. I hear you.
Cheese.
That's interesting. I'm kind of doing something similar. And the only thing that I can have is dark chocolate, like 85% or more dark chocolate. Couldn't have dark chocolate. I think I might go ballistic, right? Like that's kind of my saving thing right now. So, interesting. Yeah. We have 1 minute left, and I know we were gonna, have maybe someone, open up the line or something, and it looks like we just were having so much fun with it, and that looks like everybody was engaged. Everybody has been, and sharing. I love you all just jumped in and shared. We'll continue the conversation over on the Facebook page, and please let us know what would you like to talk about next month. We're open to having conversations about that? Is it around body that relates to our business? I mean, that seemed to trigger all of us. I know we're all in some ways. I know that I hide a lot more when I've put on weight and I'm hiding. That kind of stuff. We could talk about that or whatever floats your boat. But yeah.
What we'd love to do just to close up is everyone, if you actually mouse over the left-hand start your video, I want to see your faces one more time, and you can take yourself off if you don't have a bunch of background noise, and let's just do a final cheers. Some of us are drinking wine. I'm drinking water tonight.
Just doing our
thanks for being a part of the conversation, because that's our intention again, is to create community around what's real.
Yeah.
And what's really going on. So it was awesome to see you guys. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, this is great. Love it.
Yeah,
great conversation. Just really engage and let us know what you guys really want to talk about. It's going to be the biggest thing for us. And I think next time too, I think we're going to make sure that we I'd like to pick somebody that sort of a spotlight and sort of be experience what we do in our mastermind together. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm throwing that out there. So
awesome.
Second Wednesday, you guys. Cheers, everyone. It's my water.
Cheers.
I can't undelete my video.